am the holistic nutritionist behind Glow Nutritional Consulting, and I am so excited today to give you guys 5 awesome, really helpful, quick tips for hypothyroidism. There is so much you can do. This is also one of the single largest diagnoses out there. So this can be so helpful. Definitely share if you have friends who are struggling and all of that good stuff. I am Natalie. I am the holistic nutritionist, and I was really excited to bring you guys this because you can feel like total shit if your thyroid gland is off, if it's running a little slow, even if you are medicated or kept within a very tight range of TSH levels, there is still a really drastic set of symptoms that you can feel that aren't going to make you feel very good, even if you're kind of doing everything that you can from the medical side. So I was really excited to bring you the natural side, or at least some pieces of the natural side, because this is something that can help, and it can also help so massively that I have seen some of these tips and a bunch of others, because I could literally and have given 2-hour talks plus on just the thyroid gland, its inner workings, all the different mechanisms of action that stop it from working, all the different places along the side of the body that that can kind of hurt function and all of that stuff. So I wanted to jump in with 5 easy tips that you can follow today, but I will say always talk to your healthcare provider before jumping in with anything. I don't get the same one-on-one awesome helper methods that I do when I'm seeing a client and I have their whole health intake history so that I can make the best recommendations to them. So I'm going to share out that warning that you've always got to have somebody look over your specific health history, because they will be able to make the most clever calls for you. So number 1 is to start eating seaweed. Start including seaweed in your diet. And this is a super weird one, especially for most people who aren't used to at all eating any kind of sea vegetables. So with this one, I'm either talking about kelp is a really great source. The easiest way that I'll recommend to clients to get this in is to just get a kelp shaker from a really good brand. So I recommend Maine Coast Naturals. They do radiation testing for their sea vegetables, which I think is fantastic because of the state of the oceans right now. So you always want to make sure that those are, that there's nothing bad in there that's going to kind of be attracted to the thyroid gland in the body just because of the charge of it and cause a negative impact. So with kelp granules, because kelp is so loaded in iodine, which is one of the minerals that is used in the creation of T4, T3, and in smaller parts in T1 and T2 that your thyroid will put out. It is so super loaded that you can even just eat a really tiny amount and get such a huge boost from it. So adding 1/4 teaspoon onto an already cooked meal is absolutely awesome. Throwing it on there. I never recommend cooking with it because it can start to make things taste fishy, especially if you're kind of like making a tomato sauce or making a soup, anything where it's going to simmer for a while. So that's tip number 1, start eating seaweed. That will help to get some iodine into your body so that your thyroid gland has use of and the ability to use really awesome naturally occurring iodine instead of the synthetic iodine that can be in either supplements or table salt. So that's step 1. Step 2 is to eat lots of coconut oil. Start including coconut oil in your smoothies. Have it in place of butter in your baked goods. There are so many big steps for this one. So getting coconut oil in can be so super helpful because it is very metabolism boosting, and the kind of master metabolism gland tends to be the thyroid gland in the body. So you want to make sure whenever you're kind of helping the metabolism, you're indirectly or directly helping the thyroid gland. So that is tip number 2. Start getting coconut oil in. Tip number 3 is to focus on Brazil nuts. So even eating a small handful of Brazil nuts each day can load your body with enough selenium to help the conversion process of the thyroid hormone that the thyroid puts out into the thyroid hormone that the cells will accept. So there's a conversion process that happens in the liver, and if you do not have enough selenium in your diet, then that conversion process is either slowed down or halted completely, which can make for some really weird symptoms because you'll actually be putting out enough hormone, but your cells won't be reacting to it. And the thyroid hormone is something that impacts almost every single cell in the body. So this is absolutely spectacular, just how much this can make a change for anyone. And all of these tend to be fairly safe general tips about how this all works together, how the liver converts, how the thyroid gland puts out, all of that good stuff. So in terms of Brazil nuts, even eating a small amount can give you so much selenium. They are the highest, I think, food in selenium that we've found so far, or if we've now discovered something else with more selenium, they're still one of the absolute top foods. So focus on getting those in, but do not overeat them. So aim for a little bit under a handful a day. A handful a day when you're kind of just getting started, and then eventually you kind of fall off them for a little bit, probably. Because they are so loaded in selenium, they're actually one of the few foods that you can overdose on just because the nutrient load is so high in them. So you would probably notice from your body just not craving them as much anymore if you were getting too much. But just in case you weren't, and just in case you were going to go nuts and kind of hoard it all in, that is my word of warning to you. Make sure that you're focusing on a handful or less per day. That's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is especially important for women. Get your iron levels checked, especially important for athletic women, for women who are still menstruating, and for women who are either vegetarian or vegan or have had a health history of anemia and all of that kind of stuff. Iron is one of the other minerals that is really used in the conversion process in the liver, the same thing we were talking about with selenium. So make sure that you get your iron levels checked the next time you go see your kind of medical professional. They can also be so related to your energy levels. So if you're feeling particularly run down, exhausted, if you're super pale, if you feel like garbage during and after a workout, then those are a few little red flags that it could be worth getting your iron levels checked. And that can have like a secondary impact on your thyroid gland. So sometimes correcting that will actually correct thyroid function, because now all of a sudden your thyroid is not like over spitting out hormones, getting the signal that your cells aren't getting enough just because the conversion process isn't happening because there's not enough iron. So everything works on negative feedback loops in the body. So that is kind of the explanation of what would happen, and then your thyroid would flood out more hormones because it's getting the signal that your cells aren't getting the thyroid hormone because of that conversion process that's actually the underlying cause. So that's number 4, get your iron levels checked and get on a good supplement. There are so many people taking those like 300 milligram kind of not prescription, but over-the-counter iron supplements that are just like so super constipating, hard on your body. The absorption level from them is ridiculously low, and there are so many better iron supplements now at this point in time, from Spa Tone to Vital F to AOR has an awesome vegan iron supplement to there are just so many good ones out there that are absorbed so much better so that you're not left with a whole bunch of uncomfortable symptoms. So that's number 4, get your iron levels checked. I guess 4A or B would be to actually correct them if they are low. And then number 5 is to eat superfoods. One of the things that's really important with thyroid function is your the kind of protein that you're getting in, because one of the things that helps build thyroid hormones is actually an amino acid, so like a puzzle piece of what builds up protein levels. What's really cool about most superfoods is that they are loaded in so many more amino acids than you typically find in other foods. So focusing on foods that have a huge array of different amino acids is awesome for the body, because sometimes it'll get something in where it's like, oh, fantastic, I've been looking for that. Or like, I had to make a choice between converting a few other things and like into this one, or needing those kind of core pieces, and so I just am not working optimally. That's one of the things that the body might do. So it's really important that you eat a vast array, especially coming from raw sources, which most of the superfoods are. So if you're looking for superfood helpers, then definitely head over to my site at glownc.ca. You can scroll down until you see the pink kind of bar, click on 7 superfoods for energy, and you can sign up for my free handout that is absolutely beautiful, so friggin' helpful, so motivating. You're gonna love it. And if you're looking for energy this year, then it can amazingly help you feel awesome. So the other thing that some of the superfoods can do is refill deficiencies. So when we talked about iron levels, tip number 4, one of the superfoods in that handout is super loaded in really absorbable iron. So that would be a fantastic one to add in. And then some of the superfoods are also focused on, in that handout that I created for energy, are focused on hormonal balance, because often, especially in women, that can make a big difference to what their energy levels are doing, is making sure that their hormones are actually happy and playing nicely with each other. So whenever you balance any set of hormones, there tends to be kind of an impact on all of the creators of hormones in the body, just because nothing's now trying to overcompensate for something else, and nothing's kind of weak, and there's kind of a balance is restored. So some of the superfoods in there are specifically known to be hormonally balancing. So those would be awesome things to get in for a few different reasons. So tip number 1, eat seaweed. I mentioned kelp flakes, totally awesome. Make sure you get them from a reputable company. So that would be my big kind of recommendation. So Maine Coast Naturals was the company that I recommended or mentioned before. Eat coconut oil, get it in. Oh my gosh, you're gonna love it. Number 3 is eat Brazil nuts. Awesome source of selenium, helps your liver convert thyroid hormones into what your body will be able to use. Number 4 is to get your iron levels checked and to correct with really well absorbed supplements and awesome sources of iron in a whole food diet that can be really easy on your stomach to kind of break down, absorb all of that good stuff. And number 5 is to eat superfoods, which have a vast array of amino acids, can refill deficiencies, and can help to balance hormones. So I hope that was an awesome kind of kickstart session for you. What I wanted to share is that there is so much information on healing hypothyroidism. If you have been kind of setting this as a goal and wanting to feel better, if you've been struggling with hypothyroidism, reach out to me here with a message. This is something that I have been so passionate about. When I was first kind of starting out, as a nutritionist, one of the things that I had learned in school was that you could not naturally heal hypothyroidism. And then I had 3 immediate back-to-back hypothyroidism clients, one who lowered their medication dose, one who reversed hypothyroidism and didn't need to go on medication after the initial blood screening where he was told you're going to have to. So that was just like, it was so encouraging to me to know that you can really actually make massive change. Of course you can. Of course the body reacts to what you're eating and what you're supplementing and all of the rest of the lifestyle changes that you are making. So if you are looking to get help with this, I highly recommend getting someone who's really awesome, who really understands the entire journey of the thyroid hormones from thyroid start to the cells, because without that, you can get a bunch of like couple of different pieces And when you have instead the full puzzle being directed at you, it's just going to be like a life changer in how you feel. So if you're looking to wake up refreshed with energy, oh my gosh, energy like you will never even believe without those like super heavy feeling crashes, that is something for you. The last person in that set of 3 that I saw during that time was myself. And I took my thyroid function from just about the brink, so 4.95 when the wall is 5, way back into feeling energized, and that was like the most grateful that I could ever be, because when you are outside the range or very close to the range, you can feel like crap and so heavy and so exhausted and just have total tank out times. So if you know what I'm talking about, then you have definitely struggled with this. And come see me for help, because we can make some awesome stuff happen. I have a couple of different really awesome coaching packages that range based on your needs. So just reach out. That's the best way to get awesome help. You're amazing. I hope you learned so much. I hope this inspired you to get awesome things happening for your health. And I think that's all for tonight. I will see you guys on Monday, sometime between 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I love you. Mwah. Bye guys. Good night.